The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is finally Friday, the first Friday for the new year. And it's Friday, January 3rd. It's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. And once again, this is C.A. Newry. And I shall be your host for today. Today's going to be an open line Friday. We're still getting in the gist of things, booking shows and such. But it's going to be an open line Friday. That means whatever you want to talk about. In reason. I mean, we get a new commissioner of police. We can talk about that too. What we anticipate and expect from her moving forward. Do we anticipate the former, pardon me there, the former commissioner of police really getting an ambassadorship post? You know, I like conspiracy. But it's an open line on Friday. I want to do some housekeeping. Okay, at this beginning of the year, that means I need to work on my sponsors, right? I need to work on my sponsors. We need to keep Tuesdays on air with Anku Sarah. So if you're listening and you like that Anku Sarah show, right? Especially when he hosts by himself, right? We need some sponsors. That means you need to call in, speak to April and say, April, I want to sponsor that show. You know, let me put a couple $100 towards it to keep Anku online. It ain't got to be much money, you know. I ain't give you no set money to donate, you know. But you can say, man, I like that show. Just put this towards the Anku Sarah show. And we can speak about the Cahoon, Cleveland Indians III, and the Coptic Church of the Black Messiah. It's an alternative Christianity religion concept. And one or two things I actually have embraced and say, you know, that just makes sense. You know, that just makes sense to me in terms of how I worship and how I see and view God, the Creator. But if you want to continue to have Anku Sarah online, man, call in, man. Call in and speak to April, and we can arrange that. And of course, I have one or two other shows that I tend to make space for, make available. And you can come and sponsor me in general. So, man, I like C.A. Newry all the time, so we need to keep him on air, so this is my donation towards that. And of course, I need commercials, right? I mean, I had some good commercials for the last year, and I'm hoping and thankful for the sponsors them who want to do that and continue with that. But sometimes you might just want to come to the show and say, Newry, how much is it to be interviewed for the full hour? And I can arrange that with April. You know, I can arrange that with April and work some prices out and thing. This is the beginning of the new year, so I need to work on the prices and thing, man. I got to keep this gig. I got to keep the gig by commercials and sponsors and things like that, right? So I expect that. Like I say, today is an open line Friday. That means I'm prepared to entertain you. I am prepared to entertain you and have conversation. I mean, conversation means that you speak, I speak, then you speak, then we conclude, right? You can't, I mean, I do have one or two chronic callers who tend to talk long, but you know, if it's a good conversation, I listen. I listen. Yesterday, I wanted to speak about the people. I think it's a family of 8. I'm almost certain it's a family of 8 who had an explosion at their house off Carmichael Road there, off Blue Hill Road there. And the family has created a GoFundMe page. I need to find that information. I had everything out yesterday, but we had a different topic. Also, they reached out to have some donations. And donations meaning that they lost everything, right? The police is not allowing them to even enter the house because it's the structure has gone, right? So they lost everything. And they're just asking for items for kids and items for adults also. I saw it circulating on social media. And we got to be mindful, no, Christmas just gone. Imagine you just get your good Christmas present and then they're all gone one time. And then you're starting over from scratch. You're losing your home, which is the most major investment, all your money going on in your house, keeping it upright and fixing here and there, then the whole house gone one time. It's like a fire, right? So you can need community support. I know the Honorable Minister Pierre Glover has donated some funds. I don't know if it's adequate funds, but they have donated like support. I think it's like a place to have them stay for a while. I'm not sure if they could be blessed to have the house built from the government. Doubt that. But there might be a need, especially if you know these people, to donate $20. What's $20, man? Donate $20, $30, $40 and say, man, it could be a long road. But hopefully just $20 multiply, and that you would maybe able to start building this house again, or at least maintain yourself until you find a solution. So I want people to be mindful of that. Consider these people. Simple thing is grocery, Sometimes that $100, say, man, I ain't get no money, but this $100 have to go towards grocery. School soon open. You can need grocery and uniform, right? Uniform, shoes, all those start at one time. So I want to consider that. So today, Aaron's back upstairs. Thanks for joining me, Aaron. Today, I see we're going to have a new swearing in of a new commissioner of police. Oh,
yeah. No. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Let me go check the...
Yeah, I can talk until you check all the notes. We have a swearing in of the new commissioner of police. First time for the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. I think this is the second female commissioner of police in the Caribbean. I remember when they had that big ceremony in Jamaica. The entire Caribbean, even our commissioner here, sojourned to Jamaica to celebrate this feat, to having a female commissioner of police. So we joined them to having the second female commissioner of police. So I expect today to be all kind of pomp and pageantry. I expect all the full brass, the defense force, the customs, immigrations, and officials. I expect every female member of parliament, former female member of parliament, all the firsts in regards to females, all the dignitaries and who's who should be out in support. All the women's group should be out in support. I know school closed, but hopefully they had some women's civic groups, young groups, women, just to inspire them to say, no, it's possible. Because I remember when I predicted that we may have a female commissioner of police, and people said, no, never in the Bahamas, because people never fathomed it's even a possibility, right? So now she has opened doors for there be future possibilities without anyone having any doubts, because we've had one now. I just need to prove herself. I don't think it's going to be an easy road, right? I don't think that she'll have, when you say you have a curb to wait, to say, well, learning curve, I don't think it'd be no learning curve. You better come running, because the critique is going to be harsh. I don't think people is going to ease up to say because she's female. I'm sure she's competent. She have a lot of accolades, a lot of accomplishments, and even that too should be scrutinized. But this is not a day for scrutiny today. Today is a day of celebration in regards to her, right? So I want to say congratulations to her in general.
Don't mind me. I'm on the Royal Bahamas Police Force website. I'm using my handheld device, my cell phone. It's very difficult to navigate the page via cell phone. I would like to encourage the Royal Bahamas Police Force to compel its tech team to actually build a working website. Please. You have a website, make it work, and then understand that you need like a UX and a UI designer to ensure that your website operates the same on a cell phone, the same way it does on a tablet, the same way it does on a laptop, the same way it does on a desktop. That's a skill. And I know a Bahamian who has certification and they could help you do that.
Yeah, that actually is a job for
But
somebody.
but imagine I'm going to the website on the phone and its layout is different from on the laptop or tablet, and I can't find the tab for announcements, news, or stories, so I could read directly from the flyer that I know is posted there.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of work to do.
She has a lot of work to do. And hopefully, women tend to see things differently. Aesthetics and things like what you're speaking of, what people might just overlook, men tend to overlook. Perhaps with her organizational skills, management skills, she can put someone at task and say, that's your job. this is what's lacking on the force. That humanity type concept.
In the alternative, go find whoever y'all paid to build this website for y'all and maybe press charges against them. The press releases that you send me,
Yeah.
I can't find them on the website.
I just get good press releases. I don't expect them to be on the government, on the police website.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you find them on another platform? Like, because Royal Bahamas Police Force has a Twitter page, an X page,
Yeah.
aka Twitter, and sometimes I find releases there, but it's not like they post every press release there.
And I agree. It's inconsistent.
Anyway, it just frustrated me because I wanted to read from the flyer
Yeah.
to make the announcement. I'm not sure if it started at 10 or if it started at 9.
Let me look through my phone whilst you're looking. I have a critique of my Tuesday show with Uncle Sarah. I can read that. And it takes different opinions. So we can even tweak and make it better, right?
Okay.
Because like I say, Uncle is a staple. Every Tuesday, we're trying to reorganize that right now. And again, like I said, mentioned for sponsors. Says, good morning. I know that one person should not speak on behalf of the majority, but I truly do not like the Tuesday show with black religious beliefs. To me, and only me, I think his tone and the way of speaking is very condescending. I turn my radio off immediately once I hear him. You may lose sponsorship because of him, because he is an acquired taste. Please don't read. Oh, now you should start off. Please don't read it on air. I lean here, and that's when the problem of being dyslexic, right? You read a particular way, but I guess it's too late. It says, please don't read it on air. It's only my personal opinion. But I didn't read it. I didn't read that part until later. And no, I appreciate critique. And we will tweak it better, because I like Uncle Sarah, right? I love the Cahoon. And some aspects I plan to interrogate him on. And as we move on and we tweak the show, make it better, make it more rich and ripe, I pray and I see you return, and you can say, I come to listen to Cecil talk to Uncle Sarah. So I'll be more present there, and you will be definitely entertained. But sorry for not seeing that you didn't want me to read it aloud afterwards. But no, I appreciate the critique. So that's why I wanted. Right?
Yeah.
I just want to talk with Howard, but I ain't talking with Howard. Howard's a different person. That's after me, right? But go ahead. You find anything on nothing? So I got to go to my phone.
Let's see if it. Sometimes I become overwhelmed with frustration and how it's been 30 years since I was forced to buy things on my own, since I turned 18, right? And nothing works. Nothing works properly. Nothing works consistently.
What do you mean nothing works? I'm listening.
Sorry, I had to hold my breath just now. Mr. Newry, systems don't work. Telecommunication systems don't work. And what's most frustrating is that I am paying like developed world prices for developing services and products, right? And it's beyond what they call it economies of scale. It's beyond what I should expect in a developing country in the Caribbean region. It's beyond all of that. Or you had to go to the Facebook page to find it.
I live on Facebook, so I keep my.
And I'm fine with that. I just don't understand why the Royal Bahamas Police Force lives on Facebook.
They Facebook people.
Why they think it's appropriate.
Whoever is their Facebook page person is doing their job. Now the rest of the force may have issues.
Whoever's their Facebook page person.
Yeah.
Did you know that every police officer is a traffic officer? And they used to print that. They used to print that on beautiful placards and post it right when you walk into headquarters. Right when you walked into Central, you used to see that. And then I realized that they were telling people what to expect from the police, and that was problematic. And so they removed them. But every officer is a traffic officer. But then you telling me that they have a Facebook. You think every officer is a Facebook?
No, only just one particular person.
Okay.
I see the Ministry of Transport, again, road traffic officers have reminded us January 1st comes the new rule about insurance. It's still uneasy about it, but I've concluded this is how it goes. Because remember I was arguing last, and I see you call it. We come to you right now. I was arguing our last conversation on what happens to my insurance in between, and I'm now being told that if I have already licensed my car before January 1st, before the deadline, right, I am allowed to keep my insurance, and when it's expired, I can add on to it. And before, I thought I had my 2 months, because remember my insurance expires in March, right? I thought I had to buy new insurance again and lose those 2 or 3 months. And apparently, they're allowing you to keep those, and then you can expand. So that's good. But let's go to the caller now.
All right. Okay, and then I'm going to read this notice, an apparent notice from the Ministry of Energy and Transport.
Okay. So let's go to the caller. Guardian Radio AM with CA Newry caller. How you doing? You want to sponsor me?
Good to hear your voice in 2025, Mr. Newry.
Inshallah. Mashallah.
That's right. Well, before I get to the Tuesday part, I agree with Aaron Urker. I had a case there with Urker from 2025. They want to be a regulator. They ain't solved my problem with BTC. All they do is turn me around. So I agree with Sean McSweeney, chairman of former chair to reform, that Urker need to be revamped, come and look at that amended, because Urker don't have no teeth with these telecommunication companies, whether it be my BTC who I'm with. I'm getting terrible service. You mentioned third world. You're paying for something and it ain't working properly, and the lady at Urker keep turning you around. Those two guys need to go. Now, when it was with Mr. Johnson, oh Lord, she don't play. Mavis Johnson. You know Mavis. You all know Mavis, right?
No clue.
You mean Mrs. Mavis Johnson Colley?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
No clue she is.
I mean?
Don't watch nothing. Go on. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but she used to make it work. And on the second point, Newry, are you talking about the Tuesday? I listen to Tuesday. A lot of people probably, I hope you take criticism, because I love criticism. You could have like different religious people come on, not just one type.
I continue to invite different religions. I've gone to.
You gotta come to the course. I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry, but I can try my best. I went to the mosque, right? Then it's not Jewett, is Islam. That's a different Muslim group. But I sat through the mosque on a Friday. It was good to hear, especially when they did that Arabic call. It's this authentic, right? I take off my shoes and they bow and pray. It's a very spiritual thing. But it's just that their religion happens to see in time where my show starts, so they couldn't come. So I was still trying to invite the Bahamas Association of Islamic group on air, and it was good to see.
Also Baptist.
I don't talk to them.
Huh?
I Baptist already. I can talk to them by myself.
Yeah, bring them on.
No. I can do it by myself. I don't need to bring no one on.
But bring Anglican on then.
I know Anglican too. I go to the Anglican church. I can't talk about things I know already. We got to talk about things I do not know. I want to talk to some Jehovah Witness.
Well,
but they won't come on.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I want to talk about.
I'd like to know about them.
Yeah, I want to talk about them. So if some Jehovah Witness one come on the show and talk about why only 33,000 of them,
144,000,
and I can't make it into heaven. Yeah. I want to know about that. So if they listening, how much again, Aaron?
144,000.
I won't be in that number.
Well, what he did, I'm a part of theology, so hopefully.
Which religion?
Invite me to talk about
what religion?
Too. Huh?
What religion?
I'm an independent Baptist.
No, you're still Baptist. I ain't bringing no Baptist people on the show.
No, but they're independent.
I don't care if they're independent or they part of the communist group. They ain't coming on the show.
But I won't come and say independent. Come and say Bohemian Constitution.
But we can talk about the Constitution. What you know about the Constitution?
Well, I can't do the based on Christianity. You don't talk about that.
No, it's not.
No, Constitution. See, you already gone off wrong. You start spreading all kind of propaganda.
You could have that argument.
No, I can't have the argument if they don't make no sense.
See, sometimes you think that they don't make sense to you, but it makes sense to other people.
Aaron, that makes sense to you, that the Constitution, Christianity is part of our Constitution?
Would make sense to me.
I just asked you if it makes sense to you.
Well, it don't make sense to you. Doesn't mean it don't make sense to other people. Like Aaron Gracie, she entertained all sense as human rights.
I know, Pumpkin Eater, part of the conversation will be us turning to the framers of the Constitution and reading from their words. We could start with A.D. Hanna, who said
that doesn't make no sense.
Emphatically that the intent was not to create a theocratic state.
Right.
And that there's also, I can print it so I could read it clearly on air. the discussion about it, right? And the purpose of the mechanism is not to create a theocratic state, but to create a state where people could practice whatever religion they want.
Of course.
Yeah. That's
Of
why.
course we are free, like the United States, free, practice all religion.
Yeah.
Of course.
Except Obia, that's against the law.
Mr. Newry, you know that, right?
But Obia is against the law? Yeah, I know Obia is still against the law.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll be. That against the law, but it's up to the people if they want to take it off the.
The people not even aware of it. Not just that, the people not aware of how many practices that they maintain that are directly linked to what we call Obia, like wear your navel string berry.
Yeah, that's an Obia ritual.
Well, you need to talk about that on your show. You're right. That's interesting.
Yeah, I did that a couple of times, but yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, you did a couple of
From
times.
his perspective.
Yeah.
You go to the voodoo mother?
Yeah, nothing wrong with
No,
that.
I don't know about no voodoo.
You know
It's
what?
it's
you
Obia.
talk about that.
You can talk about that too.
Yeah. I invited the people from IFA. They came on and they spoke.
What is Ifa?
It's African spirituality.
Oh,
Europe-based.
yeah. Oh, okay.
And then
Well,
our brothers Israel United in
a lot of
Christ.
people get that mixed up with the Rastafarian movement. I'm glad you cleared that up.
I have the Rastafarian movement and the two different
I
tribes
know
here.
I got your record, you know.
Yeah,
Do you ever had any Wiccans on?
I know some Wiccans, right? But they are afraid of being persecuted. So they tell me no flat.
What is wicked? What is that?
It's
No, Wiccan, not wicked.
Wiccan.
Okay, what is that?
The religion is Wicca, and they are Wiccan. It's magic based.
No, it's not magic based.
Well, it's magic based.
It's not magic based.
It's,
See how me and him disagree in the same way you and him was disagreeing? Don't watch nothing from you
we disagree with you term magic because you still don't believe that certain things is magic, even though I say that's magic.
No, it's Obia, and there's a difference between magic and Obia.
There's a difference between magic
what
and
is
Obia.
it in the dictionary?
Because Obia does potions and
No.
Obia does do potions.
No. Obia
And
doesn't
rituals.
do
And talismans.
potions and
And
rituals. Obia is natural medicinal
Not only
treatments
we have talismans
and practices.
and we have talismans. We have a talisman you can wear around your neck and you get cured.
I wear garlic around my neck all the time to cure me from mosquito bite.
But that's necessary talisman.
Practice that too. They carry a scarf. They used to send a scarf to the mail.
Yeah, that's part of Obia rituals too.
Yeah, well, I don't know about it all, but this is part of healing.
Yeah, but it's part of Obia rituals too. I wear red ankle bracelets at time too, but that's to keep the demons and thing away. But I have all kind of strange things. Anyway, I enjoy talking to you.
That's only when
the line's full.
25. Okay?
Go ahead.
I say you could add that to this year.
Yeah, man, definitely. That should be
All right,
interesting.
you are.
Thanks again. Let's go to the next caller, Aaron. You're supposed to be reading something. You had Punky to talk the whole show just now, man.
I
Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Miss Green and Brother Newry.
Good
How you
morning.
doing, Professor?
Good day.
I'm doing well. Now, I have to take exception to a particular personality. They have a right to express their view. I don't have a problem with that. When it comes to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, we can't go by what somebody say, well, it meant this or it meant that. We have to keep it the document as is. The document clearly has an entire article that speaks to freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, clearly spelled out in the article. What people need to understand is the personal view of a particular personality cannot supersede the rights of the majority of the people in a given community, in a given constituency, in the nation as a whole. The document spells out clearly the founding principles of the nation. No ifs, no ands, no buts. That's why you have
Be
the preamble.
specific.
Are you talking about, pause, you talking about the preamble, sir?
I'm talking about the Constitution of
Okay,
the Commonwealth
right.
of Bahamas.
Since you are encouraging pedanticism when reading this document, right? Let's start with the preamble. Right? Let's start with the preamble. And in the first paragraph in the preamble, it reminds us that the country was built on Christian values. And guess what? The Christian that comes right before values is a lowercase c. And in the second paragraph, it says, now we therefore move forward with spiritual values. And the spiritual in front of the values has a capital S and not a lowercase s. And that's the first clear indication, being very pedantic in the reading, that one holds more weight than the other. The second is that it says it clearly. This is where we are, and this is where we going. This is who we were, and this is who we are now, and where we heading. And I think those two alone should be sufficient. But can we not rely on those who framed the document to tell us what is intended by it?
Listen carefully, Ms. Green. The point is we do not have any documentation from what the Founding Fathers may have thought, any written notes
We
by
do.
them.
We
don't have
do.
that.
I can pull it right now. I get into the
listen,
phone to pull it
no.
right now.
I know what you say you're going to pull. But we do not have any papers from the Founding Fathers about the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, what they may have thought, what they may have said. Fine. I don't have a problem with that.
All right.
But
So
we have to go by what the Constitution itself says. That is what you have, Ms. Green.
I am
That's what
reading.
you have, Brother Newry.
I'm reading from a document that is purport. I think they call it the Constitutional Papers, presented by I think one Mr. Sean McQueenie. The document itself for reading, and I'm going to read from it. 10.5. For reasons given below, the Commission does not accept this submission, but it wishes to first comment on the call that the preamble should be left unchanged, a view with which it agrees, subject to what is said below. On a textual analysis of the preamble, it is clear that the preamble does not directly declare the Bahamas to be a, quote, Christian, close quotes, nation.
That is the view of that particular person.
Listen, let me read it.
I don't have a problem with that, Ms. Green.
Rather, it acknowledges the supremacy of God, in parentheses, in two places, recites respect for Christian values, in parentheses, Christian values in parentheses, and provides for a nation founded on, quote, spiritual values, close quotes. I'm going to go to 10.7. Oh, no, let me go 10.6. Two brief observations need to be made. Firstly, the reference to Christian values is not tantamount to Christianity. Judeo-Christian principles, which some would argue are simply natural law precepts, inform the moral basis of most modern monotheistic societies, and the majority of the constitutions in nations which adhere to Judeo-Christian traditions include such preambular reference to God. Most notably, the use of the word, quote, spiritual, close quotes, at another place in the preamble to define the national value system can only be a deliberate attempt to embrace a wider notion of religious beliefs extending beyond Christianity. 10.7, and I can end it there. Indeed, the foremost surviving framer of the Constitution, the Honorable Arthur D. Hanna, gave credence to this point of view in his presentation to the Commission, explaining that the reference to, quote, Christian values, close quotes, is contained in a recital to the operative preamble and is really only intended to provide the historical and social context for the, quote, operative part, close quotes, which refers to, quote, spiritual values, close quotes.
Ms. Green.
Yes, sir.
Just give me a date when this purported information was said.
I will get, listen,
You have the date?
I think it's the Constitutional Papers, and no date is provided on the screenshot. But
I'll leave that. I'll leave that. I won't say anything about one of the founding fathers. I have the greatest respect for them.
But I just want, I want to pause here. I would love for us to continue the conversation at a more appropriate time, maybe even frame out a show about it. So I don't want to shut the conversation down at all. You know what I'm saying? I think...
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, good
All
stuff.
I'm simply saying is this. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is the supreme law. It is always right. It is never, ever wrong. Did Mr. Sean McQueenie tell you that? Did he ever tell you that? Or his team of whatever he had? Did he ever say that to the public?
And Professor Thompson, I am hoping to invite you again onto the show. I always enjoy when you put your input on the Constitution.
Brother Newry, I don't have a problem with what you're saying. But see if you can answer the question. Now, if you can't answer it, and Ms. Green can't answer it, say, Professor, I'm not sure, or
See,
I can't
but
answer.
Sean
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Sean McQueenie wouldn't have to tell me that. Hold on, sir. Sean McQueenie,
People make mistakes.
Professor, Sean McQueenie wouldn't have to tell me that. Hold on, pause. I've gone to law school. Sir, pause for a second. I've gone to law school. I understand the principle that the Constitution is supreme law. But you asked the question.
That's not the point of the discussion.
So why you asked the question? Were you throwing shade?
Because of a reason on what the Constitution said. I'm asking if he said to them, at any point in time, that the Constitution, the Common Promise, being the supreme law, is never wrong. It is always right. Did you get that from him?
I don't understand.
Got it from him, right?
Sir, but let us understand that when we answer the question, it is perhaps you did it wrong.
No.
See, when you throw that when you throw the question on the table, it is the supreme law. It is your interpretation.
Never wrong.
Professor, it is your interpretation of the law that is in question.
Anyway, y'all are commandeering my entire
Anything
show.
The Supreme cannot be wrong. It is always right.
It is right, and the position is correct. It is
at it through the supreme law.
Professor, just because
will continue.
Newry calls you professor doesn't mean you could tell us to shut down the conversation.
He is a professor.
It doesn't mean he could tell us to shut down the conversation. Secondarily, Mr. Newry, I don't appreciate people throwing shade at me. See, when I want to throw shade, what I can say is, Professor, I imagine because my cousin A.D. Hanna was aligned with a communist, you just cannot accept anything that he says. But that would be shade. The Constitution is the supreme document. Perhaps, perchance, it is your interpretation, sir, of said Constitution that is wrong. And in this instance, I'm not even relying on Sir McQueenie's interpretation. I've gone back to one of the framers of the document and to the formal documentations, the constitutional papers. That's what I went back to, sir.
Good. You finish? We're all going back and forth. I still need you to read the thing about the new commissioner of police. We didn't read that into record. I have a couple of people on the line to talk to, but let's read that first before the show ends.
So the ceremony starts today at 2:30 p.m.
2:30 p.m.
Guests are to be seated at 1:45 p.m., 45 minutes before the beginning of the ceremony. The ceremony will take place at police headquarters on East Street. There was no indication that I saw of where people should park who are attending the event. I guess we'll figure that out when we get there or we don't get there.
Yes, or but maybe it's a small amount of people who were invited, and that means they have.
Pull the flyer again,
Yeah,
please.
I can pull the flyer.
Because I don't understand what you mean by invited.
I don't know. They say
Because when they had the semi-secret swearing in of the Prime Minister and the Minister of Tourism, even though they called him the Deputy Prime Minister, there was no flyer.
Let's go to the next caller, and
then we have the post from the Ministry of Transport.
Yes, and I want to also read this post from the Bar Association. The Bahamas Bar Association is having a public forum on the death penalty, the worst of the worst. They want to debate the worst of the worst.
Why? Why is that what they want to talk about right now?
I don't know why the Bar Council Association doing foolishness. So at the Holy Trinity Activity Center, Trinity Way, Tuesday, January 7th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. The moderator will be Jeff Lloyd.
So they're not talking about the new insurance policy.
No.
They're not talking about the insurance policy that was rolled out earlier this year.
They want to talk about the death penalty and the worst of the worst, like anyone asked them about.
Where people who are doing boat charters can only get local insurance and no longer allowed to operate with international coverage?
They have a big-time speaker, Professor Karsten Zackler. See which way you come in. Zackler from SC. I know what SC means, but that's his title. The Bar of Ireland, Mr. Damien Gomez Casey, Mr. Reynard Henfield. That name sounds familiar. Learned Friend Lord Chambers, Mrs. Ty Pinder McKay, Pinder Reckley and Co. I know who that is too. So it should be interesting. Let's go to the caller. But I don't want to hear about no public forum. I want them to just do the law one time and define what works. Anyway, let's go to the caller. Go ahead, caller. Sorry about the wait. Call again once. Call again twice. No? Okay.
Hello?
Hey, you there? Go ahead, caller. I'm sorry.
Yes, Newry, Miss Green, and the Water Bahamas, Alan Johnson. I was going to tell you the letter was 2003, Miss Green, that you're reading from, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just say, when you read the preamble, we have to understand that when it refers to Christian value and then it refers to spiritual values, those are two different paragraphs, right?
Right.
Right. And so in each one, so when, for instance, I did an analysis. I love the Constitution, but when it says for Christian values, right, an abiding respect for Christian values and the rule of law, that is that's one word, one sentence, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Christian values speaks about principles such as compassion, honesty, integrity, which is rooted in the nation's historical and cultural identity. Then the rule of law, commitment to justice, fairness, adherence to the legal framework, and the backbone of our society. Then it goes down to spiritual values. Now, when you look to values of the Christian values and the spiritual values, they both relate to this association with a Godhead. But the Christian values is very important because Christianity is one of the few religions that tolerates the others. And so it sets up like a gateway for tolerance of other religions' existence, but it was never endorsement of a theocracy or theological rules of governance.
Is this pre or post Spanish Inquisition?
Right. It lays out just a guideline for our...
I just want to know, this Christianity that you speak of, that is of all of the religions, is more tolerant of others. Is this pre or post Spanish Inquisition?
No, I want you to know that it does not say Christianity. The word Christian stands alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so Christian values is a value system, and it may and may not be argued that it abides within Christianity. And so, but we have to look at the values. What are those? And so there's certain values that you can extrapolate from Christian values. Christianity is a religion within itself, and oftentimes the words may be interchangeable. I'm a Christian, and I'm from Christianity.
Okay.
But each of them has its own word. So it's compassion, honesty, integrity. The key word is integrity. But it was rooted in the nation's historical and cultural identity at the time in the seeking of this, whether the independence and whatever else. But it didn't want to give any specific rules to Baptist, Anglican, anything else, even though we were coming out of the Anglican head of the governance of the country as a whole. So it doesn't even imply directly to the Anglicanism or Anglo that you speak about. And so, but oftentimes I hear people superimpose that we are a Christian nation. It doesn't say that in the Constitution. It may be your personal perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't say that in the thing. But maybe this is the problem we have, is that we have people that say things, and we never really discuss and break it down sentence by sentence.
We can discuss that right now. I appreciate that.
The comma and the dot of things.
Thanks very much, C. Allen, as usual.
For if we were a Christian nation, we would all be Anglican. Who's the king of the Bahamas?
Yeah, I don't have nothing to do with us as an independent nation.
Say what?
We don't have a church.
If we were a Christian nation, we would be Anglican.
We do not have a church.
The head of state is Anglican.
Yes.
If we were a Christian nation, we would be Anglican.
But we don't have a church, a what do you call it? A church, a system church or whatever it is. Now I hear that. You said it was 3, 4, 5 times.
If we were a theocratic state, we would be Anglican.
Okay. We're not that. Anyway, go ahead.
So this is a notice that was shared online from the Ministry of Energy and Transport, the Road Traffic Department. Road Traffic Department. Road Traffic Amendment Act 2024 is the title. First bullet point, effective 1st of January 2025, all policy of insurance should be issued for a period of no less than 6 months. Bullet point number 2, all existing policies will be accepted during the transitional period until next date of renewal. Bullet point number 3, insured persons should report cancellation of policy and provide evidence as to the reason for cancellation to the controller of road traffic within 5 days. What didn't the amendment also didn't it call primarily for the insurance company to report to road traffic, to the controller of road traffic within a limited amount of time that the policy had been canceled?
I remember we had that discussion. I'm not sure.
I mean, that's what I read in the paper. Because I cannot find an actual policy statement on the matter from the government, from the insurance industry, from nothing.
No problem.
Yeah, that's it. That's the 3 bullet points. That's all it says. Okay. And surely that's not sufficient for people to figure out what they're going to do next.
At this present time, if from January 1st, when you're going to get your policy, you got to be 6 months. When you're going to get your insurance for your car, you have to be 6 months out. And those people who have insurance who already registered the car, you can drive your car on your insurance, which you have now. And when that expires, you go into 6 months. That's what I understood. That means I ain't putting on no extra insurance on my car till after March. And March, I'll do my 6 month thing. That's what I'm saying.
But I thought the law also required that. Didn't the law? Didn't the bill say that what they were intending is for nobody to hold insurance for less than a year?
Yes, but now we're going by the bullet.
No. I'm just. No.
I hear that.
I'm just reading from this flyer.
Yes.
We're not certain that the flyer is real.
What do you mean certain this flyer is real?
See, this is the problem with government agencies making social media platforms their primary source of dissemination of information. Mm-hmm. I should be able to go to the verified agency's website. Right? I go there and I say, oh, this is the exact same flyer on the website. It is real. Verified.
Yes. Earlier, Professor Thompson, also C. Alan Johnson, spoke about public debate and the Constitution. Mm-hmm. Recently, there's something circulating. I did a response to it. Mm-hmm. It's Aaron belongs to a particular group. What's
me?
I see your name inside there, Aaron. I just say it out loud. You can't, or unless you can say I lying. You belong to a particular you belong to a particular WhatsApp group. Well, who's who in the Bahamas? These are. Well, let me finish. These are what they call intelligentsia. I pronounce it correctly? Intelligentsia. Some of the smartest people in the Bahamas is in this WhatsApp group. It's a think tank. It's called a Bahamian think tank, actually. It has about 12 KCs inside the group. Some very intellectual people who debate. They debate everything. One of the recent debate, this is where my conversation going now. One of the recent debate was about how to remove a prime minister, not the prime minister, a prime minister. And you can correct me in terms of the wording, because you in the group, and I'm not in the group because I'm not an intellectual, right? They pontificate a lot. I mean, you need some smart lawyers in this group. And of course, Aaron Green inside the group too, right? And there was a response that is circulating. And the response is by Professor Gilbert Morris, which is circulating like crazy in regard to that, right? Even people are appreciative of it. There should be, and I'm not sure if this think tank group has a forum where they could publish the debates that you all have in this WhatsApp group, that lay people like me who have limited education can understand and appreciate the conversation based on what was published. Like, it's been a great debate apparently by a number of the persons inside the group on the various ways a prime minister can be removed, and the debate on whether a prime minister can be removed in the Bahamas and who has the authority. So they had different position points. I responded, and I wanted to read you read better than me. Read my response. This is my response by reading one of the papers. Yeah, read that.
All right. So essentially, a series of questions were asked.
Okay, go ahead.
And two of the members of the group produced position papers on it. And then a third member, Professor Gilbert Morris, produced a position paper. And so they're very lengthy, very wordy.
Yes.
Mr. Morris's paper is a great tool to help digest and better understand what the initial two contributions were. One, one position kind of opposed the other, right? And so it was a great tool to, like a framework to help you be able to digest the positions put forward by both.
Long and short, it's worth for the Bahamian people to ingest. And it's unfortunate that we don't have access to it. And I just said, let me bring about this. I'm CA Newry. I talk with everybody. So I want you to read my response to it. But go ahead.
So here is Mr. Newry's response to the document that Professor Gilbert Morris published in the midst of the discussion. The betrayal of the Bahamian people by the supposed keepers of the public trust. That's your caption.
That's my caption.
Right. There's an online debate raging among some of the brightest minds of Bahamian intelligentsia. The debate simply is about how can a sitting prime minister be fired? Is that even possible within our system of governance? The various position exchange is worthy of being made public for public digestion. The Bahamian public psyche would be better for it. In any event, from reading from the exchange, not sure whether those who participated within intended for it to be interpreted as such, one can conclude that at any given time in the Bahamas, we can have the Attorney General, the Chief Justice, the Court of Appeal, President, the Governor General, the Commissioner of Police, the Commander of the Defense Force, senior members of the press, and senior influential pastors who are card-carrying members of a particular political party, with them having a bond to be partial, quote, looking the other way, aka corrupt practices in favor of their political affiliations side. The question of whether it is constitutionally feasible to move a prime minister may be moot, but what should be more concerning, what should be included within the debate, is the reality that within the immediate future, it is possible that Bahamians may not be able to trust the courts, the police, the press, the pastors, the Governor General, or the Attorney General. They all can be politically biased with an agenda. But
That's me. That's me.
You ended there?
No, that's the end of it. Oh, any more there?
I mean,
that's just me being sarcastic after that. But let's go to the caller, and then we talk more about the debate which you infer. But let me go to the caller because the caller been waiting for a while, and then my explanation on why I think the debate, the exchange, should be made public for people like me to appreciate. But let's go to the caller first. Go ahead, caller. Caller going once. Sorry about waiting too long. Caller going twice. Okay, go ahead, Aaron. You were a part of this group, right? Like I said, it's intelligentsia of some of the smartest Bahamians in the country. Who is who? Media personalities, lawyers, doctors, policy makers are inside this group. You all debate different topics. It's a Bahamian think tank. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if that think tank or what comes out of the think tank changes any type of policy, even though there are government officials inside this group on either side.
So I haven't been in the group for very long. This is the first time I've seen what I can call it an official response to a debate question, right? Both individuals took the time to craft a position, right, as opposed to just responding. So they responded or contributed to the debate primarily through a position paper. The first paper was presented, and then the second paper arose partially in opposition to the position laid down by the first paper. I thought that was fantastic. I really appreciated that, right? That it's more than just opinion. This is an opinion paper by learned members of the judiciary. Right? I don't want to call the names. But senior and learned members of the judiciary. I also appreciate Professor Morris's, like I said, his framing the conversation. I want to pull up that document as well at the same time. You have that one?
I have it. You want me to send it to you?
Yeah. Okay. That way it'll be right up on the top. Mm-hmm. No, I got it. I pulled it. And Professor Morris's document is called Notes Toward a Bahamian Jurist Culture, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. So the question arose, how can you get rid of a PM, a prime minister? And so then the interrogation started. It was really interesting to follow along in the legal jargon and then kind of have to withhold I had to not say anything because understanding the level of discourse we were engaged in. But I agree with you. These types of conversations should be more accessible. And for this reason, because people want to know.
Yes,
They
I
want to
want to
know,
know.
and they want to hear. They're prepared for their, they acknowledge their limitations, the lack of legal literacy. So not only do we need individuals in society creating these position papers as a part of a debate space, but then we also need others to make it more accessible by bringing it down to layman's language.
I have a caller. Let me squeeze this caller in because I know we're running out of time. Producer, go ahead, caller. Sorry about that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Newry. Good morning, and good morning to you, Ms. Green.
Morning.
Quickly, you had a text earlier, Mr. Newry, talking about Anku show with the religious thing. I think that the show has become one where Anku isn't engaging the public enough, man. I think he needs to do that instead of he's just been having his people on and members from his church from the States or whatever, and just interviewing them the whole show and stuff. I mean, it'd be better if he engage the public and answer questions that the public may have, and that way he can convince people, one-on-one as opposed to doing it that way. And also
No problem. Then I'll have a show where he does that.
And also, hopefully, certain topics that you all promised to have a show on. I'd like to see you all do that, too.
Give an example. Quickly, because we're out of time.
Flat Earth.
Oh, you want to talk about flat earth again?
Yeah,
You still believe the word flat?
You all promised to have a show on it, brother.
I had a show on flat earth, man. I'll have another one because of you. Just because it's you now, I can have another show, and hopefully you call, because I don't believe you still believe the earth flat. I'm concerned.
Because of me? Man, I appreciate that, Mr.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about you because you still believe the earth flat. That normal people don't believe that no more.
Hey, look, you have a good day, man. You and Ms. Green, yeah?
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Thank you.
Blessings.
I can squeeze one more in, but just squeeze this one more person in, man. Go ahead, caller. I'm squeezing you in. Make it quick. I can hear you.
Yes, the only about replacing the prime minister. I from my knowledge, you replace the prime minister by the members of parliament voting against him in a vote of non-confidence.
That was mentioned inside the group. Go ahead.
Then also you could replace the prime minister by in the party. The party could replace the prime minister by replacing the leader and appointing the leader as prime minister by the members in the parliament.
Yes, that was two also mentioned.
Also, you could replace the prime minister by having a military coup.
Well, we ain't want that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I think one of the issues, is, especially with my response, any given time we can have an AG, a Governor General, a Commissioner of Police, a Defense Force Commodore, all being card-carrying members, all supporters of a particular Prime Minister. It's hard to replace someone who have all the cards. You have all four aces, right, in the deck. And the deuces, so that's my response.
But-
and I will have this conversation again Monday.
Yeah, I can say the discussion centers around Article, is it 74.1? That's one of the articles. So I tell people, get into the Constitution, pick up a cup, go online, and just pin it.
So Monday, I want you to take your notes from that, Aaron, and we're going to do a whole show. Is it possible to replace a constitutional prime minister? I'm using the notes of the.
You think I'm brilliant? You think I could get a whole law degree just over the weekend?
Over the weekend.
I could try.
This has been Guardian Radio AM with CA Newry. I have a good topic I could do Monday. That's my topic Monday, so be prepared for that. Hopefully,
You come to class tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
We guys study law, buddy.
Have a good day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.